because all he was doing was writing and performing music. He said that performing music was the only time he was ever confident in himself. The first time in his life that he was ever confident in himself.
Oh, it wasn't when he had the razor blade to the guy's throat as he was butt banging him?
I don't think
no confidence there.
I don't think there was much confidence.
It wasn't a confidence move.
It seems like a confident move to me. I don't know.
So they gave him $35 and a suitcase of old clothes. And at this point, he had spent more than half of his life behind bars. And his prison conduct sheet at the time of his release said, and this is a perspective of Charlie that Charlie doesn't necessarily have of himself at this time. His prison conduct sheet said he has a pattern of criminal behavior and confinement that dates to his teen years. This pattern is one of instability, whether in a free society or a structured institutional community. Little can be expected in the way of a change in his attitude, behavior, or mode of conduct.
Oh, man, they didn't mention my music. God damn it.
Yes, and he's a very promising singer-songwriter who should definitely go seek out famous record producers in Los Angeles.
There's also no way that he's going to help kill Sharon Tate. So send him free.
So he gets out in 1967. It's the Summer of Love. And Charlie's like right smack dab in the middle of it. And like I said,
the Summer of Love had no idea what was coming for it. That's what's so awesome. I do love Charlie for
period too, because this in the later '60s, as it was heading towards the '70s, that the San Francisco scene, or like the whole hippie movement, was already beginning to take a turn for the right.
Oh, everyone, after 5 years of doing mushrooms every damn day, your brain starts to go crazy and the society crumbles around you.
Yeah, the Summer of Love was the peak. The rise and fall of the hippie music, or the hippie movement, the true one, is fast. It's like real fucking fast.
Yeah,
it
you
rises
can only
and
trip
falls
for so long.
It rises and falls in a period of about 6 years or so. It doesn't last very long. So Charlie, he missed all the 60s, but he just heard that Haight-Ashbury was the happening scene down in San Francisco. So he goes down there, shines shoes for a while, and he said that a 15-year-old kid turned him onto the scene.
I mean, did they even wear shoes?
He's like, hey there, wild-eyed crazy man. You ever heard of a band called the Grateful Dead? Check them out. They're pretty good.
Yeah, shine my.
You gotta do, like, what you gotta do when you see them is do this stuff called acid. I'm not really sure. I'm 15. I'm just trying to go to school. I'm trying to be a president. My name's Bob Dole. Robert Dole.
At this,
Untold story.
Yep. And Charlie Manson did actually take his first hit of acid at a Grateful Dead concert.
All right.
And he said he loved it.
I'm not surprised.
Absolutely.
Time of his life. So he was one of those guys around Haight-Ashbury that would just wander around playing his music for anyone that would listen. He'd go into bars and ask the bartender, he's like, hey, could I just play for some tips? And if nobody gave him any money, he'd put on his loudest voice and say,
I just got out of prison, and me and my two partners had come by this place to rob it. I'd talk my partners into letting me try to earn a few honest dollars instead of robbing the place. Now, if some of you bastards don't put a few dollars into this empty hat so that I ain't a liar, I don't know how long I can keep my two partners from walking through that door with their shotguns.
And he said,
it was surprising how effective those words were.
Yes, technically, Mr. Manson, that is robbery, actually, at this point now.
I swear to God, everything that Charlie Manson says sounds like a fucking Murder Fist sketch.
Yeah. It really does. I mean, that's what's so...
It's because he has the same logic. He has the same Murder Fist logic.
Right.
Which is just being like, it's like, how do I gotta be an honest man. What am I gonna do? I gotta crime my way to it.
Right. That's crazy. He took acid at the Grateful Dead concert. Everyone up there for the Grateful Dead is just having a great time thinking about peace and love, and they don't even realize they're entertaining the person who was going to end their entire movement.
Yeah.
That's weird. When you're an entertainer, when you're in a band or a comedian or a sketch group, you never know who's in the crowd. You might be making a serial rapist or a serial killer just love you. Like Murder Fist, I'm sure after a Murder Fist sketch show, there was at least one person who goes up to Henry and be like, man, you're my favorite comedian. You're so goddamn funny. And in 3 weeks, we're going to read in the paper he had a bunch of babies in a cement box underneath his apartment.
Please, last podcast on the left, listeners, if you are having any thoughts of murder or anything criminal, please seek help.
Seek help.
But But I will say, I think that anybody within a 5-foot radius of Charlie knew that he was going to be a murderer. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
knew that he was going to be bad, especially at that concert when
Yeah.
he was just like dancing like a little too hard, a touch of gray, you know?
So eventually, Charlie made his way up to UC Berkeley just to play a few songs, and he met.
Oh, he didn't enroll? He's not going to go.
No,
He's not going to Berkeley? Oh.
Not going to Berkeley, and he meets the very first member of the Charlie Manson family, Mary Bruner, a.k.a. Mariochi, Och, Mother Mary, Mary Manson, Linda D. Manson, and Christine Marie Ukes.
That's the one that's the name that I don't know where that name comes from. I don't know how you get the nickname of Christine Marie Ukes.
Yeah, Ute sounds like something that would go with a Southern breakfast or something.
You know, all the Manson family, they all had their straight alias. Well, at least most of them did.
Right.
They had that name, like, because they got arrested a lot for having false ID.
Right,
Like,
right.
yeah, that they would just throw around, and they did, but they all did get arrested.
I'm going to be
a lot.
Starcrust Manson and Catherine Blubbard.
Yeah. Hi, hello. My name is Robert Moontree Pemberton.
Okay, Mr. Pemberton.
So Mary Bruner, she was a librarian who had just moved to California from Wisconsin.
Oh, all
yeah,
right.
and
Well, that
she-
explains the hair.
Yeah. She didn't have many friends, and so
Wisconsin women are beautiful.
They are beautiful. I love every single one of them. And if you're
yeah.
from Wisconsin, you are for me.
So Charlie talks his way into letting him stay at her apartment. After a few weeks, they started sleeping together, and as Charlie described it, it's just a beautiful courtship.
But this is actually kind of romantic. A few weeks. I mean, he didn't aggressively sexually assault her or
Yeah.
anything. Like,
No.
I mean,
Well, that's what Charlie
Honestly,
said.
it
He
sounds
said that he said that you know, everybody paints me as coming out and immediately starting to fuck all these women. But I tell you what, it was quite a few days before I got my balls out, Hawk.
but then he didn't not exactly romantic. the way-
4 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4
Because
days.
he really had his fucking way with women, and it's true. Is that I think honestly, he was good on the bush.
Yeah.
He was good on that bush.
Well, you know, in fact, he's went on about the first sexual experience between him and Mary Bruner in Manson, in his own words. He goes on about it for 3 pages.
3 pages.
It is
and it's
3
all-
pages of erotic literature.
It's like a 50 Shades of Grey situation?
No, it's very,
No.
very, it's like very sensual. It's very delicate. He talks about how he learned how to please a woman. It's all about pleasing the woman and how to go on a journey with her. And
Well,
this is
if we could please get one of our amazingly talented last podcast on the left fans who can create the graphic art. I would love to see Manson's face on the cover of those romantic novels instead of Fabio or these other big buff
But
models.
it's really true. And again, up to this point, Charles Manson is kind of a cool guy. Like he's he's a mess, and he's like a very he's got to be rough to have a fucking conversation with. But he's got a cool pass.
Right.
He eats that tush.
Yeah.
24/7.
Everyone
he
was
knows
on
how to
drugs.
talk a good talk.
Yeah.
yeah, he
And
does,
he'd
man.
be fun to hang out with.
Yep.
Now,
he's-
was he up front with his criminal past to these people? or-
Absolutely.
So
Every-
he
yeah.
was.
No, that's
Yeah.
how he got them.
Yeah,
That's how he got people.
that's how he
attracted
was
to
a
him.
cool dude. You know, he's like, yeah, I'm a criminal. I've been in prison. You know, I know the ways of life.
Anti-establishment, yeah.
But he said that experience taught him that, quote, sex is more than a stiff dick and a hot box.
That's
Yes, it
nice.
is.
Which I just think that's a great thing to teach your kids.
Yep, sex is
But
more
this
than
is
a...
also this is where he also began his fucking guru rap.
Yeah.
Was during this time. Whereas that like while they were having sex, and he would just be like, "You are God, I am God. We are all our own gods. We are made of the universe." And it was like started this thing which was just like awesome during sex.
Yeah.
And then he
Yeah.
started realizing I can use this all the time.
Yeah.
That's exactly the way that Pastor Joel Osteen started his ministry as well, and now he's selling out Yankee Stadium. So think about
but
that.
it started with like a 4-year-old boy and
Yes.
he's telling him that you are Clifford the Red Dog. I am Clifford the Red Dog.
We're both Clifford the Red Dog, which is kind of gross.
He also brings the 16-year-old girl named Darlene into the mix, who doesn't really stick around with the family all that long. But he loved the power that all this gave him. But
Right.
he would fuck Darlene during the day and then fuck Mary at night. And the power that he was able to have over these women